Orin! Shut your fucking mouth! No!
1 week later.
They gon' take your face off. They gon' rob her. They gon' take your face off. They gon' rob her. They gon' take your face off. It's about drive. It's about power. We stay hungry. We devour. Put in the work. Put in the hours and take what's ours. Like in Simone in my veins. My culture banging with strange. I change the game. So what's my? With extreme mana.
3 days later. Hello everyone, in this video I will talk about the changes and updates of the old builds that include Spectre, Scourge, Renegade and Mirage. Also we will talk about their EOD specs, Harbinger, Virtuoso and Vindicators, the good and the bad sides of them. So let's start. During beta, I made a build video for Spectre to show the new Thief specialization potential, and you will find the video link in the description down below. The good thing is, there is nothing to change to the build, but the only thing changed since the beta. During beta, when Spectre enter and leave Shadow Shroud, it will consume all the Shroud energy and convert them into healing, and the extra energy will be converted into barrier. But an EOD release, ANET didn't like the idea, so they changed the function of F2. Now to get the maximum heal from leaving Shroud, you need to spend 5 seconds in Shroud. Each second will generate 1 Shroud stack, and once you reach 5 stacks, you can leave the Shadow Shroud to convert the rest of the Shroud energy into healing. And while you are in Shadow Shroud, you can use skill 2 and skill 4 to deal damage, and skill 3 to have an extra barriers. As for damage rotation, just keep using F1 and 1000 needles of cooldown, and then spam 3. Seriously, that's all. Just keep spamming skill 3. And that's all you need to know about Spectre. The build is pretty strong with high sustain and decent damage, and it will always allow you to stay in range. As for Scourge, I mentioned in the build video, there are 2 options for runes that will have the same damage result, but since Rune of Torment got nerfed, we can use Rune of the Undead to get more toughness and to convert 7% of the toughness to condition damage. In the last balance patch, ANET nerfed the healing from Cursed Trait Line by reducing the healing you get from the damage you deal from 10% to 5%. And to be fair, the nerf is noticeable. But still, Scourge remain a great spec with the high damage and self-sustain with heals and barriers. But on the other hand, Harbinger is the opposite of Scourge. Instead of granting barrier to reduce incoming attacks, Harbinger inflicts a blight to itself that reduces its own health just to get small damage increase, which lead to poor performance to solo hard bosses. But still, it's a great spec to use against most of the champions like hero points and to cleave a group of mobs. I tested different kind of builds that include Celestial, but I got the highest damage result from using Trailblazer, the same gear and rune that I'm using on Scourge. With this, you can have 2 build templates with the same gear except the weapons and sigils, so you can play with both of them whenever you like. I will link all the builds that I'm talking about in this video in the description down below. The Renegade got brutal nerf to its sustain. Not only they removed the healing from Rune of Tormenting, but they also reduced the healing from Battle Scar from 330 to 117 per attack in PvE only, which it doesn't make any sense since it cannot be abused in raids or fractals, and because of that, Renegade got a huge healing nerf. Still, the healing from Battle-Scar is decent. As for Vindicator, as many of you noticed, Vindicator isn't good in solo bosses, especially after Battle-Scar nerf. The new spec damage is pretty low, it's not even viable in raids or fractals, but keep in mind, there will be a major balance patch in 28th of June that might make Vindicator viable in raids and open world. For now, Vindicator is only good to one-shot group of mobs by landing a damage from dodge attack. We'll drop the build for those who wanted it in the description down below. Seriously, the dev who made this nerf is a The Mirage build that I made was depending on Rune of Tormenting to self-sustain itself, since it cannot heal itself like other classes beside using the healing skill. And for that, we're going to change Rune of Tormenting to either Rune of Perplexity or Rune of Undead. Both will reduce the incoming damage attacks and will deal high damage. You can choose any of those. We'll drop the builds in the description. Unlike Renegade, Mirage at least can stay in range and have multiple dodges to avoid incoming attacks. But keep in mind, taking a damage as a Mirage is unforgiving since you cannot regen your health. So you better spam dodges or you will die. The new Mesmer EOD specialization, Virtuoso, is terrible. It has really low DPS since it cannot grant might to itself, and because of that, the trait that convert 3% of the damage to heal will become useless, and if you change any trait or rune to have more healing, you will end up having a really low damage. Also doesn't have any decent AoE damage, and if you think Virtuoso has a decent AoE damage, then check this. The spec is underrated, and I hope ANET will do something about it in 28th of June, otherwise it will go to... Thank you for watching this video, and remember, in 28th of June there will be a major balance patch that might change the old or new specializations builds for both EOD and POF. So that's it for today. I will see you later in the next video.